Yes, madam has joined.
Okay.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. Very good morning to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Nice to meet you, especially.
Thank you.
Yes, your beautiful face. Looking very smart to us.
Ma'am, not as beautiful as you are. Not as beautiful as you are.
No. You're shining.
Ma'am. Ma'am, Fargat ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am,
Hi,
good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good to see you.
Fine. Yes. How are you, ma'am?
I'm fine.
Ma'am,
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, shall we start the program? Shall we start?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. So we can Professor Tibi sir.
Yes.
Yes, we can start. We can start the program. So the program will be moderated by Dr. Edwin Sam.
Okay, sir.
He will proceed. Okay.
Sir,
You can start.
Shall I begin?
Yes, sir.
Tibi sir?
Yes, sir. Edwin, sir, you can begin, sir. Yeah.
Okay, good morning to you all. Greetings from the Department of History and Research Center, Nesamani Memorial Christian College, Marthanda. Don't look for big things, just do small things with great love. The smaller must be the thing, the greater must be our love, said father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi. Every year, thousands of men and women the world over put their lives.
No, wait a minute. Ma'am. Forget, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Okay. So,
Okay.
yeah, we lost connection for some time.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So
we will proceed it.
Yes. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, you expect me to begin? Please tell me when we have to have some more speeches.
Yes, the moderator should start.
Okay, yeah.
Madam,
Yes,
I lost my network. Yes.
Now you are audible, sir. You can start.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, let's begin today's program with the Syrian question of Martin Luther King. What are you doing for others? I repeat, what are you doing for others? Let me invite Dr. M. Glory Boy, head of the Department of History, to deliver welcome address. Please, madam.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes.
I hope that My voice is clear for you, sir, whether I'm audible to you? Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are
Yes.
audible.
Okay, thank you. Warm greetings and good morning to you all. I am very proud of the Department of History. Today, we are organizing the national webinar on this historical day of the world is celebrating, that is World Humanitarian Day. Every year, we are celebrating 19th August as the Humanitarian Day. So we got a nice opportunity to arrange such a good webinar in this pandemic situation to express the human nature. So I'm very proud of arranging such webinar today. So on this occasion, first of all, I welcome and thank God thy presence throughout this webinar to be peaceful to the human society, because this day is very important one. So next, I would like to welcome Honorable Principal of our college, the most reputed personality who is always behind us as a pillar to support, to organize such good webinars in this situation also. Dr. K. Palraj, our principal, is as an active person to organize all such activities in the Department of History as well as all the departments of the college. Sir, on behalf of the Department of History and my own behalf, I extend warm greetings and welcome to you, sir. Next, it's my privilege to welcome the correspondent of our college, Advocate L. Rajadurai, for his enthusiastic support and especially his motivation to organize such webinars in this pandemic situation. So in this August occasion, I should welcome the correspondent of our college, Dr. L. Rajadurai, on behalf of the Department of History and my own behalf. Next, I am pleased to welcome the greatest personality of today, the resource person, Dr. Fargat Nasrin, Professor, Department of History and Honorary Director, Center for Jawaharlal Nehru, Jamia Millia Islamia, especially New Delhi. She is going to present today on the topic, the human side of historical figure. I hope that this day is going to be a fruitful one. She is going to highlight on the significance of the human beings. Human beings, on what ground we are expressing our attitudes, our helping nature, how Mother Teresa left edible account by spending her whole life for the cause of human. Shared till her death as a great personality. As a woman, she stood for the greatness of the human society. So with a great heart, I feel that Dr. Fargat Nasrin is going to present a very good lecture on the topic, the human side of historical figure. The participants are the luckiest persons. We feel that the fruitful message of Dr. Fargat Nasrin will give additional strength and additional color to the society, especially the webinar organized by us. So on behalf of the Department of History and my own behalf, I extend warm greetings and welcome you too, ma'am. Good morning and welcome you, ma'am. Next, my welcome goes to the department professors, especially the organizing secretary of this webinar, Dr. G.M. Sundar Singh. Always an active person, young and energetic, he is always involving as organizing such programs as well as his this enthusiastic motivation of all this organizing some webinars as well as seminars in the department added additional strength to the department, color to the department, and also our department is always live. I feel that the whole of India, or the state itself, and the nation, whole of India is proud of Dr. G.M. Sundar Singh, his contact with the other university, other especially state professors. The bright future today, Dr. Fargat Nasrin also invited by him. With his motivation, today the webinar has been arranged. Sir, on behalf of the Department of History and my own behalf, I extend warm greetings and welcome you, sir. Next, my pleasure to welcome goes to the department professors. They are the backbone of the department. All the department professors are acting as young and energetic because the youngsters, the juniors to us, the senior most Professor Dr. J. Evangeline ma'am, and followed by others. That means total 15 professors in our department. I feel 12 energetic, young and energetic. Only 50 crossed 3 more persons. Others 40. So the 40s, they are very active in our department. So the backbone of the department, as well as all the professors, their kind cooperation in the department for the progress of the department, their effort is much. So on behalf of my own behalf, I extend warm greetings to all the department professors. Next, it's my pleasure to welcome the participants from various colleges. They are always participating in such webinars and giving certain suggestions and ideas about the webinars also. Already we arranged certain webinars, such time also, their enthusiasm added color to the department. So other professors from various colleges, I welcome you, ma'am and professors. Next, all the participants, the PhD scholars, MPhil scholars, PG students, and UG students also today joined, because all the humans should be treated without any partiality as human. The nature today that is diminishing. I feel right from the first man, Adam and Eve's first son, that is Abel, due to it is jealous towards his own brother. He murdered the Cain, his own brother. Right from that day onwards, the human nature of especially massacring and creating certain ill feelings among the people, that's continuing. Today, the whole world is thinking about the population, the people of Afghanistan. What is going to happen? We are praying for the people, as well as in different countries. People are suffering. Their basic rights are crushed. Even on the ground of religion, on the ground of caste, on the ground of color, or whatever may be, economic aspects, we are totally not treating the people par with us. The equality of human beings based on the creation of God, that should be survived. That's why in the beginning itself I quoted that our great-hearted lady today also living in the heart of us, that is Mother Teresa, who earned the Nobel Prize for Peace only because of her humanitarian attitude. So with these words, I welcome all the gatherings, especially I don't want to take much time because the time is precious. We are going to hear good terms from our chief guest, that means our resource person. So I welcome all the participants, as well as it's my duty to welcome the supporting staff who is here, always helpful to the Department of History. And also I welcome each and every person who are participating from our college and other colleges. Once again, with a great heart, I welcome the resource person, special welcome. And also, I welcome the IQEC coordinator, Professor T.V. Thomas are also, and also I welcome each and every one of you. Welcome you. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, madam. We welcome you to this program, madam.
Professor, sir.
Yes. Now let me welcome the person who is working behind the curtain, Dr. G.M. Sundar Singh sir, to introduce the chief guest of the day. Sir, Sundar Singh sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Okay. The most respected correspondent of our premier and prestigious institution. Dr. Evangelist, the young and energetic professor, as well as the moderator of this program, Dr. The IQAC coordinator, Dr. Professor T.B. Thomas, the professors from other colleges. I'm extremely happy to introduce the most distinguished chief guest as well as the resource person of this program related with the World Humanitarian Day based on the title, The Human Side of Historical Figures. Comparing to Dr. Fargat Nasrin, she was a multifaceted personality. She was most kindful, lovable, and a talented person. When I thought of celebrating this World Humanitarian Day, the person who came in front of me was Dr. Fargat Nasrin, Honorary Director of Center of Jawaharlal Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. She had a vast experience of teaching of 22 years of dedicated service in the field of education. More than that, she was an editor of a journal of history and sociology of South India, which is included in the UGC CARE list. One among the proudest thing which I have to mention is she taught the subject history to the cadets of Indian Military Academy, Dehradun. She has authored more than 7 books. And one among the notable book is If History Has Taught Us Anything. She has organized various seminars. She has attended more than 100 several articles in various journals. Ma'am, your presence in our midst is most proud to us. I'm extremely happy to thank you, for your presence in the right time to deliver a lecture. With these words, I conclude my introductory speech. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your nice words.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure to welcome the resource person to deliver keynote address. Please, madam.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
I hope I'm audible clearly.
Yes, yes. Yes,
Okay.
madam.
Righto. So a very good morning to all of you. And thank you so much, ma'am, for your warm welcome. It is really humbling. And I'm grateful to Dr. Sundar for having invited me today to be in your midst. And I thank all the organizers for this opportunity that I've got to address you on this auspicious day. Now, when we talk about humanitarianism, or the importance of human beings, whatever we say about the importance of human beings is really never going to be enough, because human beings are such a key thing in this whole scheme of creation. Because if you look at the scheme of creation, the human beings are such an important connection between the various other facets of the created world. The problem that human beings face in this world, which is so beautiful, is a lot of the credit for the problems that they face goes to them only, because they create those problems for themselves. Now, from where do these problems actually crop up? A lot of the problems that we face come from ourselves, as in from the kind of ego that we have, from the kind of pride that we have, from the kind of greed that we have. Those are the things that make not only the life of others around us difficult, but they also make our own life difficult. Now, as a historian, someone who's worked in history for so long, there's one thing that I can say with absolute surety, and that is that humility is one of the basic lessons of history. Because if you think, when you, as a historian, you go through, history of millions of years, how how the earth was cold and then hot and then it cooled down again, and then finally you have a biosphere where life can survive. So if you think of all of this and all the past dynasties and the rulers who were so grand, who thought that they are invincible and nothing will happen to them ever, but they're all dead, they're all gone, everything that they created is raised to dust. That brings us to the thought that this world is actually transitory. Nothing here is permanent. So when the people of that kind of a stature, when they didn't last, on what ground do we have a sense of pride in either our physical strength or our material strength or whatever else we think that we own? So this idea of ownership and then deriving some kind of a pride out of it, which makes you discriminate against other people on any kind of ground, is one of the stupidest things that anyone can do. Now, to think of this, that we are just a speck in the whole, if you're thinking of the world and you're thinking of space and you're thinking of time, then we as individuals, we are actually non-existent. In the frame of time, we are just a tiny dot, maybe a speck, which fades very quickly. So there's nothing to be very proud about. But what we have to do is that in that tiny speck of time that we have on this earth, what is the difference that we can make? Can we make any difference and make other people's life better? What are the things that take us away from humanism, or from being humane and kind and nice and generous to people? They are stereotypes. Most of the divisions that we have around us are man-made divisions. Say, for example, there is the class division. Of course, I mean, it is the economic division which automatically divides people into groups, and the well-off think that they are somehow better off than the poorer classes. And not only that they are better off economically, but they have this in their head that they are actually superior, which is a complete illusion, because most of the wealth that the rich generate, they generate it by exploiting the hard work of the poorer classes. So there has to be economic justice if you're talking about humanism. That is one of the basic things that you need to have. When you think of the work of Abhijit Banerjee and Esther Duflo, the recent winners of the Nobel Prize in Economics, they talk about the cycle of poverty. There is a trap of poverty which is generated because of exploitation. And if you read what Abhijit Banerjee has to say about it, it says that the more poor you are, your health is going to deteriorate even more. And the more unhealthy that you are less likely to find work, and therefore you're going to get poorer. And therefore it's like a vicious cycle. So this economic differentiation is something that needs to be addressed if we are really thinking of creating a world which is equal and which has at least the basic dignity and the basic rights for everybody. So economic disparity is something which definitely needs to be addressed on an urgent basis all over the world. The other thing which comes in is the gender-based discrimination. Again, an old problem which takes us away from humanism, because often women are treated as if they are not humans at all. I mean, they are like a property. If you read history, there are so many occasions, so many societies where women were just treated as a piece of property. They are, kind of objectified. Their worth depends on how they look, and more than looking into their soul. So if you're thinking of them as objects, then it makes the life of a lot of women extremely difficult. And in the present circumstances also, if we moved away from this looking good factor and we are beyond the physical, if we are into an age where women are working, then also there is a lot of judgmentalism, that how much are you earning, what is the kind of money that you make. Then in this context, as far as the looks are concerned, there are two things which are very important and close to this. One is known as body shaming. Body shaming is people telling you that you are either too fat, or you're too thin, or you're too dark, or you're too fair, or your hair is short or long or whatever, and you don't look good enough, this color doesn't suit you, you shouldn't dress up like this, you shouldn't go there, and so on and so forth. So body shaming is making a person feel ashamed about the way they are born. Can we do anything about the way we are born? No, we can't. And if you look into any religion's text, any religion, they would say that all human beings are creations of God. Who are we to judge the way God made and created somebody? So we have to get, over this whole idea of body shaming, and not pressurize people to become fairer by putting on all those fairness creams, which perhaps are more harmful than doing any good. And even for that matter, the anti-aging creams, how to look younger than your years. Why should one have to look younger than one's years? I mean, it's inhuman to expect people to be young forever. Who has remained young forever? The only formula to be young forever is to die young. That is the only way that one can be young forever. So there has to be acceptance in a number of dynamics of womanhood, and there is a lot of pressure on women to look beautiful and to look young and to at least act young all the time, which is not possible for them to do. It pressurizes them, which it dehumanizes them. So that is another area that we need to address. Then of course there is racial discrimination. As far as racial discrimination is concerned, I think all of us as human beings have to realize that the civilization and the culture that we have today is not the making of any one race. It's a culture, it's a civilization, it's a way of living that we have inherited from our ancestors, whom we do not even know. We do not know, because there has been transition. People have traveled from one place to another. There have been, marriages, mixed marriages. There's a mixture of blood. So who are we to say, that we belong to a particular race and we are superior to, so and so? Because we do not know our own history, and we cannot know, because history is so far distant in time that nobody can claim to know the complete history of even his own self. Forget about the races in the world, but they would not even know their own personal histories in entirety. So a pride in a historical past that you do not really know of, you have not lived through it, it's a distant dream. And to have a pride over that and to discriminate against other people because you believe that you had a history which is different from theirs is unfair. So we have to live in here and now, see what we can do for the betterment of people around us. That becomes a very, very important thing. Now, as far as talking about the humanitarianism in personalities from the past, the first personality that I would like to speak about is Jesus. Now, what was Jesus really talking about when he was preaching? What was he doing? He was preaching against all the greed which was prevalent in the society of his times, all the materialism, all the use of luxury. Because when you get greedy, there is no end to what you want to accumulate. So while there may be enough in this world for everybody's need, there'll never be enough for everybody's greed. So that is exactly what he was talking about. We know that the Roman Empire had oppressive taxation system. The ruling class therein lived in great lot of luxury. You had a slave system. You had completely a society which was divided on a number of lines and highly exploitative. So Jesus was talking about all of that. I mean, he attacked all of that. He said, this is not done. We have to have justice, liberty, equality, acceptance of everybody. And then he spoke about, the importance of focusing not just on the here and now, reminding people that, you are here only for some time. That is a very important lesson in humility, to remember that you are not going to be here forever. You're just passing through this world. That is something that all the mystics, and in fact, all the religions have always emphasized. That is something that he was saying. The important thing that he pointed out to the people of his time, for example, was that he said that the fifth commandment, which spoke about physical killing, is not just about physical killing. It implies killing of all kinds. So it implies even, psychological killing. It implies spiritual killing. So if you're talking about psychological killing, if you destroy somebody's confidence in themselves, that is also a kind of killing. If you tell somebody walks into a room very enthusiastically, and you look down upon him because of the kind of clothes that he's wearing, because the way he looks, or maybe the way he speaks, maybe he doesn't speak the language that you speak, maybe he doesn't understand the language that you think is a superior language, then you look down upon him. So you destroy his confidence, his happiness, his enthusiasm with which he had entered into that room to have a communication with you. That is, killing somebody's happiness. That is also killing. That is what Jesus was talking about. He was saying that the fifth commandment, physical killing, is not everything. There are many other kinds of killings. Say, supposing somebody has a dream and you tell him or her that you can't achieve it because you are not worth it, because you are a woman, you can't do it, because you're a poor, you can never, become upwardly mobile, then you're killing a dream. That is also not allowed. That's what he said. In the sixth, and then he also said that the sixth commandment, which, say, for example, had to do with adultery, he said that it is not just about physical adultery. Again, it was about, even if you look at somebody with adulterous eyes, even that is adultery. So when it is not just about, giving somebody a shouting, it implies that even if you look down upon somebody by the way you look at him, by the way you make him feel, is also something which is incorrect. One is something which is incorrect. You speak, and you by your words you kill somebody, and then you can also kill somebody by just looking at them. And that is why it is so many times said that smiling is a charity. A good word is charity, because it makes other people feel happy, makes them feel good. So if you're giving happiness to people, it's a good deed for you. I mean, and you don't spend anything. So it's absolutely fantastic. It's a completely win-win situation, but still, our ego and our pride will not allow us to win. We don't want to win, because this ego and pride of ours, it dominates over, this whole idea of being in a win-win situation. Then, of course, he said that you do not have to be a hypocrite, because hypocrisy is something which is a double-edged sword. If you are in the habit of being a hypocrite, then it isn't as if that you will just act in front of other people. You might even have a self-image about yourself, which is not there at all. And you have to be a realist. So many times you have to be a realist. You have to be a practical person. You have to know that these are the areas in myself which are weak. I have to improve these areas. And in maybe in such and such a person, those are the areas that need some kind of attention, and you help him improve those things, without really running him down. So there has to be what one may say creative criticism. You can criticize, but what is your intent in criticizing? Do you want to be contemptuous, or do you want actually that person to gain by what you're saying? The third and the very famous incidents which comes from Jesus is his dealing with the woman, with the so-called sinner woman, whom the people of the town had brought forth, and they had said that she deserves to be stoned. And he said that, fine, all right. I mean, we stone her, all right. But then the first stone will be picked up by a person who has not sinned at all. So first you have to judge yourself before you start judging other people. And this is exactly something like that. This was one of the North Indian poets said, that Bura jo dekhan main chala, bura na miliya koi. जो मन देखा आपना मुझसे बुरा न कोई. That I went out in the world to search for the worst person, and when I looked into my heart, I found that nobody was worse than me. I'm the worst person. So that is the kind of thing that Jesus said, that fine, we are going to punish her, but then you have to judge yourself first. Judgmentalism, while you don't judge yourself and you don't try to improve yourself, but you want to improve the whole damn world. You don't have solution to your own problems, but you have solution for all the problems of all the people in the world. Then that's being a hypocrite, you know. So that is something that, of course, he was talking about. And then we have the narrative that this woman, she was, because no one could pick up the stone. So therefore her life was saved, and then she washed his feet with perfume, and then she dried his feet with her hair. And then Jesus prayed for her, and he prayed that may God forgive her sins. Forgiveness. That is the big deal. And the big deal about forgiveness is that you can't say that, well, I'm going to, forgive some, and forgiveness is a two-way process. If you have to ask for forgiveness, then also you should not delay. So it's not just about forgiving other people, but also asking for forgiveness if you think that you, slighted anybody in any way. And there should be no delay in asking for this forgiveness, because otherwise you may just let go of it. And your ego might start dominating and tell you, well, there is no need to ask for forgiveness. So you have to ask for forgiveness quickly. And when Jesus prayed for this woman, and he emphasized the fact that God is kind, he loves human beings. If you want to please God, you have to love human beings. That's it. That's the formula. And God is not sitting there waiting to punish people. And you, therefore, of course, you are not sitting in judgment at all. When God himself is ready to forgive, who are you to punish people for how they look, for how they talk, for how they walk, for what they do, for what they earn? Who are you to punish them and judge them and rate them when God himself is not rating them? So the idea that God loves his creatures was absolutely a path-breaking thing, because then the acceptance of God is not the monopoly of some priestly class, which has again the monopoly of the sacred books and the sacred word, which the common man cannot understand. So it is open for everybody. And the very thought that God loves you, no matter who you are or what you did, or what whatever sins that you've done in the past, they can be forgiven because God is there to forgive you. It gives hope, and it equalizes everybody, because everyone's equal in the eyes of God. That is a huge thing. That's a huge lesson in humanitarianism. And there was a price for preaching this lesson. There was a price for it, and the price was the cross on his shoulders. The price was the crown of thorns on his head. That is the price. But he was so obedient to the message that he was going to convey that he bore the price. He paid the price which had to be paid. And that is what the price of being a humanitarian might be. A doctor was just talking about Mother Teresa. She paid a price because she lived a life of absolute simplicity, absolute selflessness. That is the price. You have to pay it. So many times you will have to curb your own desires, because you have to be, fair with people. You have to curb your ego, your anger, your rage, your maybe even self-esteem at times. You have to do it. So that is the important lesson that we get from Jesus. Then, of course, we had this amazing Bhakti movement in Hindustan, where you have the Bhaktas who spoke about the simplicity of the relationship of the common devotee with God. And the Bhakti movement, especially the kind that started in the 8th century with the coming of the Bhagavad Puran, it was based on human emotionalism and the idea that you have a personal God. So you can perceive God in the way that you want to perceive him. He can be your friend. He can be maybe your lover. He can be your brother. He can be, your beloved. There are different ways in which you can perceive God. So the Bhakti movement gave room to human emotionalism in the idea of connecting with the Supreme Being. That is what the strength of the Bhakti movement was. And from herein, you would find that there is a change in the way devotion is exhibited. So, you have people who would break out from the monopoly and the institutions which were owned and completely run by the priestly class. And there is a revolution. And books are written for the common people in the local languages. It's reachable to everybody. And let me cite a little thing from Kabir, because Kabir says, कि झीनी जीनी बीनी चदरिया काहे का ताना काहे का बाना कौन तार से बीनी चदरिया दास कबीर ध्यान कर राख्यो जस के धस धर दीनी चदरिया. That he's saying that God had sent me with an absolutely clean soul, and I used my soul in this world in such a way that when I died, I returned back. It's like a white sheet. So I returned back the sheet to him in an absolutely clean state. That is what he's talking about. Then, of course, we had the rise of Islam. Again, it was primarily against the kind of exploitative system which was running in Arabia. And you have the prophet who preaches humanism, because just like Jesus, you would find that the most of the followers of Prophet Muhammad were poor people, deprived classes, weaker sections. They all flocked to him because he was talking about equality and humanism. Let me give you a quick example. That once the prophet was sitting, and there was a dead body of a Jew which was passing by, and the prophet got up. And when he got up, the other men who were there with him, they said that you don't have to get up. It is the dead body of a Jew. And the prophet said that, but is he not a human being? That's what he said. Although there were a number of military confrontations also which were going on between the Jews and the Muslims. But that was something which was apart. As far as the human value of any body is concerned, that was a thing which was of importance. As far as the gender issue is concerned, let me just tell you that when there is a particular chapter in the Quran which talks about the rights of women, it's called the An-Nisa. So when the chapter came and the women were granted a lot of rights in Islam, there were men who came to the Prophet's house in Medina, and they said that, what have you brought forth on us? Because now all the women will ask for so many rights. And it was Hazrat Umar, who's the second of the Khalifas. So he went to the Prophet and he said, there are so many women, so many men who are standing outside my house, and they're asking me that how will we manage and control our women, because the Prophet Muhammad has given the women so many rights by the way he treats his own wives, and also by what the Quran now says, by the word of God that he claims says. And Prophet retorted, he said back to Hazrat Umar, that if you have 10 men standing outside your house and complaining about their wives, then I have 100 women standing outside my house complaining about their husbands. So the oppression clearly on women is much more than what it is on men. And this is the stand that I'm going to take, and this is it. So it isn't as if that it was easy for him to get through the human values that he was talking about. Because see, following ritualism in any religion is easy in comparison to living in the spirit of the religion. Because living in the spirit of the religion requires far more of restraint, far more of practice than doing a ritual for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day. That is not so difficult. The difficult thing is that you employ your religiosity to become a good human being. You employ your religiosity for, setting up a structure of morality and ethics. You use your religion, whatever religion you belong to, whatever race you belong to, whatever country you belong to, you need to realize that this is one world. This is one world. We are one people. All of us have the same red blood. Is there any race that doesn't have red colored blood? Is it? If we don't have that, then we are the same. If someone's studying medicine, the human anatomy, is the human anatomy any different in any part of the world? No, it isn't. Then how can we discriminate between human beings? Absolutely crazy. So we need to, we need to say this out. We need to think about it. We need to, put it into arguments, bring examples, disseminate them, talk to people, spread out the word. That is something which we really need to do. And of course, there have been great rulers who spoke about, humanism and having good hope from the mercy of God. No matter, I'm not getting into this, that who their God is, but they had good hope from divinity. They have a hope of justice from nature. Like, I'll give you a quick example, that there was a king by the name of Vikramaditya in the ancient Indian history. And Vikramaditya, when his father died, his eldest brother became the ruler. And his eldest brother was always very suspicious that Vikramaditya is going to kill him, although Vikramaditya was not interested in killing him at all. But because of this suspicion, the elder brother plotted to kill Vikramaditya. And in the process, the elder one got killed, and Vikramaditya actually became the ruler, and he lived on to become a very, very famous and a very powerful ruler, so much so that the title was used by a number of other rulers later on. So sometimes it's our own insecurities which lead us into discriminating against other people. So many times it's our own, it's our own inferiority complex that turns into a superiority complex. It might work that way at home. It might work that way in your working space, in the way you deal with the people who work for you. And it's pathetic. I mean, that is one of the basic lessons in life, that you have to be kind and gentle to people and make it a policy that you may or may not help people in whatever help they are asking for, but at least don't insult them. So anyone who goes out from your room should go out feeling respected. That, I think, is a very important thing for people who are in a position of authority, or people who are in a position of, economic well-being, where they are in a state where they can help others. You may not be able to help them in the way that they are asking for help, but at least make them feel good about themselves. That's the least that we can do for human beings. And as far as, material gains are concerned, there is no point in hoarding, because we are not going to take any of it with us. So it's a good idea to, share whatever riches we've got. We need to share them, whatever they are. I'll give you one quick example. There was a king who was very well known for his raids on Hindustan, Mahmoud of Ghazni. And Mahmoud of Ghazni had commissioned a poetry book, which is known as the Shahnama, which was written by a poet called Firdausi. And he had promised Firdausi that he is going to pay him a gold coin for every verse that this fellow wrote. Firdausi took 30 years in completing the Shahnama. And finally, when the bill came, Mahmoud of Ghazni felt stingy, and he did not pay him what he had promised to pay him. He did not. And Firdausi felt so betrayed and so belittled that he did not take the little meager sum of money that the Badshah had sent for him. He refused to take it. But what he did was that he took out from the library the copy of the Shahnama, and he wrote therein that, Mahmoud, the ruler, do you think that you are the one who is going to give me fame? Do you think that you are going to give me fame? No. I wasn't depending on you at any point in time. I was depending on the mercy of God. I was depending on the worth of my own work. And if you look today, after thousands of years, you find that Firdausi's work is supposed to be one of the best classics ever written in Persian, ever at all. It is supposed to be one of the best classics in the world. And Mahmoud of Ghazni is known for his cruelty, for his greed, and for his indiscriminate, killing and looting. So, but at that point in time, Ghazni felt that he's in position of power, that he has control over, the destiny of another man. We do not have control on the destiny of other people. We need to be humble. I'll just finish with a little verse which comes from Sadi, Sheikh Sadi, his work Gulistan. He was one of the Sufi poets from medieval period. I'm reading it in English, and he says, "Not every arm which contains strength breaks the hand of the weak for showing bravery. Injure not the heart of the helpless, for thou wilt succumb to the forces of a stronger man. Abandon thy claim to strength and manliness. Thou art weak-minded and base. Whether thou be a man or woman, if thou art able, if you are worth anything, if you are able, make a sweet mouth. Speak nicely to people. Make a sweet mouth. Although able to tear up an elephant's front, he is not a man who possesses no humility. He is not a man who possesses no humanity. A man's nature is of earth. He's like dust. A man's nature is of earth. If he's not humble, he's not a man. If he's not humble, he's not a man. We are made of dust. And believe, you may or may not like to believe, but from dust to dust is true. We have risen from dust and we are going to go back into dust. So meanwhile, while we have not reached the dust as yet, let's do our best to make the world beautiful around us. And be humane, be nice, be good to people, gentle, kind, honest, merciful, forgiving. Thank you. Thank you.
Madam, thank you. Thank you for the thought-provoking, wonderful, systematic and clear presentation, madam. You have presented in simple and beautiful English with a smiling face and interesting stories and examples. From your talk, we could understand that what are the things take us away from humanism. That is economic divisions, gender discriminations, and the highlight of this presentation is your explanation about Jesus Christ and 10 Commandments. Madam, on behalf of the Department of History, Nesamani Memorial Christian College, I extend a hearty thanks to you, madam.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. It's the time for discussion. Now the participants can clarify your doubts. Participants, you can ask your questions here. If you have no questions, otherwise you can express your feedback. That's enough. I expect feedback from the participants. One or two participants voluntarily, you can express your feedback.
Hi, you can talk to me. You can talk to me.
Sir, Sundar Singh, sir. Sir, you can express your feedback.
Just the feedback. Ma'am, I'm extremely happy that you have delivered the lecture in a most attractive manner, which would be more useful to the teaching faculty as well as our students. Getting a concern to deliver a lecture from a university professor, it is more difficult. It is more difficult. And you belong to a reputed institution, which is a central university. When I consulted you, immediately you gave your concern and you proved to be a real humanitarian. The speech which you delivered, it will be more useful to our students also. one of my humble requests, I request you to visit our college if time permits in future. Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful and valuable speech, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm totally honored and I'm really grateful for the opportunity. Thank you so very much.
Madam, teachers, please express your feedback.
1 minute. As head of the Department of History, ma'am, I'm very proud of you. Actually, your face itself expresses the humanitarian ground. You're smiling. No need of more words, but your thoughts you express in the form of words. The words which reach today the hearts of everyone, there is no doubt. Actually, I feel that I want to see directly in our college, especially we are going to arrange after pandemic, we will invite you, as quoted by Dr. G.M. Sundar Singh sir, my humble request, please come to Kanyakumari district in our college and we can discuss a lot with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, we are in need of such humanitarian persons. As a lady, I feel that, yes, in India, we are the pillars to provide humanitarian hearts to the people of ruling authority. Because everywhere, this human nature is diminishing day by day. So we should come forward to provide such great idea and ideals in the hearts of the human beings. Especially I used to feel that what's going on in Delhi, our heart, our headquarters, our authorities never turn towards the agriculturists for their prolonged request. So in this World Humanitarian Day, your speech provides additional strength to the youngsters to possess such good art when they are going to occupy good chairs. You quoted a word, just to smile. When someone is entering to the chairs near to us, that itself expresses the humanitarian ground of the human. So with these words, I can talk many things when you quoted, but the senior most ma'am is waiting to express vote of thanks. She is going to highlight what you presented. Okay, thank you once again on behalf of the Department of History. May God bless you and utilize you for many throughout the world, not only in India, throughout the world. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, madam, for your words. We are now at the end of the program. Now I invite Dr. J. Evangeline Sheelabel, madam, for the vote of thanks. Madam, please, madam.
Good afternoon to everyone. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. First of all, I thank God Almighty for His grace and blessings to complete this webinar in a successful manner. I take this opportunity to express my sincere thanks to our most respected principal, Dr. K. Palraj, for his constant support and encouragement to organize this webinar. Next, I extend my thanks to our beloved HOD, Dr. M. Glorybai, who is a source of inspiration in conducting this webinar. Our special and sincere thanks to the distinguished resource person, Dr. Fargat Nasrin, Professor of History and Honorary Director, Center for Jawaharlal Nehru Studies, New Delhi, for sharing her valuable time and valuable ideas with us. Really, ma'am has emphasized the various aspects which affected humanism in the society, like physical killing, psychological killing, spiritual killing, racial discrimination, injustice against the women. And she has given a clear picture about the humanism from the teachings, preachings, and practice of Jesus Christ and Prophet Muhammad. Really, your talk is a valuable one to us, ma'am. From the Department of History, we express our wholehearted thanks to you. Next, I express my wholehearted thanks to the dynamic professor of our department, Dr. G.M. Sundar Singh, for the effort he has taken to arrange this wonderful webinar. I also express my wholehearted thanks to Dr. Edwin Sam, who served as the moderator of this webinar. I offer my wholehearted thanks and support to all the faculty members of our department for the kind cooperation. I also express my wholehearted thanks for the enthusiastic participation of all the participants from North India and South India. I express my wholehearted to all the faculty members of various reputed institutions, PhD scholars, MPhil scholars, UG and PG students, friends and well-wishers. So on this important occasion, let us all remember the words, service to humanity is service to God. Let us also remember that we should be good Samaritans to do good service to the people. Let us all take a decision that to do all the good we can in all the ways we can, in all the places we can, at all the times we can, and to all the people we can, and as long as we can. With these words, I give a big thanks to one and all who participated in the webinar.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your wonderful words. We can conclude the program by remembering the words of Mother Teresa. You cannot feed 100 of people, feed just one. If you cannot feed 100 of people, feed just one. Go into the world and do well. But more importantly, remember to go into the world and do good. Wish you a very happy World Humanitarian Day. Thank you. Thank you so much.